Hello, this is the Reluctant Marketer podcast. We explore marketing for people who don't want to do it, but feel they must. I'm Matthias Bohlen. Hi Anna, I'm so excited to have you here. Good morning today.
Hello, Matthias. Excited to be here as well. Thank you for having me.
Today here with me, dear audience, is Ana Bibikova. She's head of marketing at Aimondo, a pricing SaaS for e-commerce, retailers and brands. Anna has more than 18 years of marketing experience under her belt. She's very much into SaaS marketing, B2B SaaS marketing, like things like lead generation, content, events, paid acquisition, social, you name it. And Anna still has time for something special. Anna is on a mission to help founders with very limited resources to launch more successful and useful products that help real people solve real problems. So yeah, quite exciting. She's doing all kinds of other things. So let's dive in. Welcome, Anna, to the Reluctant Marketer podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Matthias.
Anna, first of all, how on earth do you find time for all this? You're head of marketing, you're helping founders, and you have a family raising children at the same time. How does that all work?
Oh my, that's a tough question. It actually does not. There is no magic pill. It doesn't work. You can't fit everything in there. So the story is that I've been on my own, like doing private mentorship, just sessions, or I'm still with the Founder Institute as a part of their mentorship program.
Uh-huh.
So I have several annual commitments as far as it goes with the big, classroom lectures and several one-on-one mentorship sessions with the founders who enter the Founder Institute program. Otherwise, I had to put my, private marketing consultancy business on hold for a while as I joined the team of B2B SaaS in December. After having almost 4 years of this gap, doing my own projects, building my own consultancy business. And one of the reasons why I joined it is in the first place, I used to be a head of marketing and I used to be basically an entrepreneur. I used to build an innovative retail company with e-commerce for almost 7 years. And I quit because of the burnout that I had. Again, I spent too much time working. I was actually focused on the wrong things, as an introvert. I did not realize where my strong sides were, and basically because I enjoy doing marketing so much, I enjoy doing, playing behind the scenes. But as a head of business, I could not afford doing it all the time. And I ended up actually submerging myself into things that I hated doing, like hiring people, managing people, interacting with people all the time. So no surprises there. As an introvert, I got to a stage where I just hated every single moment I spent building this business and growing this business. And I just sold everything that I could and quit. So after that, I was hoping I would never work again. I just spent all the time with my family, growing my kids. But obviously, that's not what happened. A friend of mine who was here in Cyprus leading the local accelerator program for the startup founders. It happened somewhat 5 years ago. So he reached out to me asking if I would like to lecture to some of the founders and share my experience on marketing, because that's
what a nice idea.
The most painful point that startup founders usually have. They know more or less well how to build a product, but they don't know how to promote it, how to bring it in front of the customer's eyes. So he invited me as just a lecturer, as an educator, to talk to the founders, to tell them about my own experience in building business. And I was very surprised because I said, I've never been in the startup field before. I don't know how to talk to them. And he was like, come on, you've been doing startup things, innovative things all your life. You
Yeah,
just
exactly. Yeah.
didn't call it startup because the retail concept that I introduced to the market, it was very innovative back then. And I've never seen anyone actually doing anything like that, like this still, because it was a mixture of, the cooking class space, the meetup space, and the commercial space. So people could come in there. They could run the space, and they could use it to arrange cooking classes, to learn how to cook, and they could use the ingredients that were sold by the stores, and they could actually just come there every single day, and because we had the cooking classes on ongoing basis, like every weekend we had something going on, and people could come over there and visit us and taste the food and learn how to do it, and again pictures the ingredients at the same time. And also we arranged like online tickets so that like people could buy like this cooking class as a gift, people could buy cooking class as an
Wow.
experience. So there were a lot of online activities around this as well. So
This
yes,
sounds like a pretty integrated concept, right?
yeah, I've never seen anything like that before, and I've never seen anyone doing like this even now,
Yeah.
even after COVID, when people like used to go online for all kind of experiences. So it was very innovative back then. And this friend of mine, he said, you can share your experience, your background, how you did you come up with this idea in the first place, how you introduced it, what challenges did you have
Yeah,
while
exactly.
building the
You had the
business.
experience. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I started doing. I started talking to the founders, and very fast I realized that they were not so much about like how to come up with the idea. They already had the ideas. They struggled mostly with maybe vetting the ideas, validating them, right? Which one
Uh-huh.
is feasible, which one is not, and if the feasible one, what is the best target audience for me, how do I find these people, what audience is supposed to be more promising, who are the best paying customers, who are the good paying customers but they're not early adopters. So there is always a balance between choosing
Yeah,
your
yeah.
go-to-market strategy. What niche should you go with? Should you even build a niche business? And if you build a not so niche business, like for example, one of my favorite example, Peter Shom, he built this reform
Yeah.
service application that it's like the form builder, like Google Forms, but prettier. All right.
Yeah.
So it's for everyone. It's not like you have very specific audience you can introduce your product to. It can be used by small businesses, by marketers, by entrepreneurs, by founders,
Yeah,
by
it's a very
engineers,
horizontal
by
thing. Exactly.
anyone, right? So it's
Yeah.
like Google. It's for all kind of people, or I don't know. There are like Notion, for example. There are many other products
Yeah.
that can be used by anyone. But the stories, you still have to choose whom to start with, because as a founder you have a very limited budget and
Right.
very limited
Exactly.
time, very limited resources in terms of addressing audiences. So you most often you have just one or maybe two shots to shoot, and you have to be very precise whom to start with, because if you choose the wrong audience for your go-to-market strategy, you can get demotivated and discouraged very fast if you don't have positive
Yeah.
response. And if you invested a lot of money and time and resources into reaching out to this audience and you're not getting anything back, so you basically burn all your cash very fast, and you don't have anything to go with further. So that's the pain points of the early stage founders that I realized very fast. So again, then it was more about, as soon as you get to know your audience, or as soon as you chose someone, how do you reach out to them? How do you go to them? Where do you find these people? And yeah, that's what I started mentoring about. That's what I
Yeah.
started educating people on, as like a private consultant and as a part of the Founder Institute mentorship program. But again, after maybe 4 years of doing this, and mostly my deal flow was coming from Twitter, from LinkedIn, and the Founder Institute program, because I was
Yeah.
very active on social media, telling people what I could help them with, my insights, my understanding of how it should be done, and probably it resonated with many people as well. But eventually, again, I got to the point when I started feeling that it does not fulfill me as a person, on a certain level, because it's a good thing to help someone with a piece of advice. But in most cases, because I used to deal with the very early stage founders, I never could like follow up, or I never had this luxury of seeing my ideas and my tips being implemented. Because as you know, the early stage founders, they kind of swimmers that have to cross the Indian Ocean. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
so many things to do. There's so many things they have to juggle all the plates, and they have so many things on their plates that most often they just have chosen some direction to go. And even if they hire me as a consultant or as a mentor, I tell them this is what how it should be done. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to change. They realize that I'm telling them all the right things and they resonate with them, but they already so deep in some workflow, in some, in some flow
Yeah. And the
state
things they have to do.
that
Yeah.
just changing this demands a lot of effort. And they realize that, for example, building this like marketing machine, building the structure, running all the customer interviews, doing this and that, they just don't have time for that. They merely manage to debug the product. They don't have time
Oh, okay.
for all the marketing. They
This
don't
was
have time to restructure
this was
it.
one of my questions that I had. Why do we struggle so much with marketing when we are solopreneurs, or especially introverted ones? Why doesn't marketing come natural to us? Why do we struggle? It's myself, and it's I've seen other people struggle with that, especially introverted people. What do you think? How why is marketing so kind of off to us?
I don't believe that it has to do with the marketing or actually building a product. That it's not about that, and I don't believe it has to do something with introversion, because
Okay.
for example, many people believe that a good salesperson can be an introvert,
Yeah.
because to be good at sales, you have to be convincing, chatty, you have to be a little bit pushy and pitchy, and you have to be very persistent and not to be discouraged by people, sending you away. You have to stay motivated doing door-to-door sales or
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you just can't be an introvert and be successful in sales. And that's completely not true, because yeah, the part of the process is to stay put and stay motivated while being rejected all the time. But to be honest, none of us likes being rejected.
Yeah.
Introverts
Right.
or extroverts, we don't enjoy when people tell us go away. We hate you, you are so
Yeah.
annoying. Nobody enjoys that. It's not about introversion and extroversion. The big difference that introverted people, and there were actually many scientific studies on that we get overwhelmed by interacting. It's not that we're antisocial, right? It's not that we
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
people around us. We actually enjoy meaningful conversations, but one-on-one. We can
Right.
be very happy just calling a friend and discussing something over a cup of coffee or a glass of beer or something like that. But if it's one-on-one, so that's the conditions while we feel comfortable during the
Yeah.
social interaction. The conversation should be one-on-one. It should be meaningful. It shouldn't be like empty small talk. It should be about some
Yeah. Right.
topic that we really enjoy talking about, that we actually had put some thought into. And when we're talking to a person that we believe is interesting to us. So if all these conditions, three conditions meet, we're amazing at social interaction. We can last for a very long time, much longer than an average extrovert. What we really don't enjoy is like covering the room. When we put ourselves into like unknown circumstances, unknown group of people, and we have to interact like with all of them, like group meetings, conferences, all, you know, group
Parties
interaction is parties. It's all horrible. It's so very bad, and we really suck at it. And one of the reasons why is that not because we are antisocial, because we're extra social. We have this, you know, like signal receiver machine in our brain that picks all the social cues that much better than average extrovert would pick.
And it's kind of like a microphone, right? In the podcast
like,
here, it's more sensitive.
It's more, we are more sensitive to social cues. And that's why we get overwhelmed much faster. It's kind of, you know, system overload. We get too much information, too much of that. And we get totally wiped out after very short interaction with many people. Because we feel kind of responsible for picking all these cues and building our communication in a very personalized way with all the people. And it's just physically impossible. That's one of the reasons. And the second reason is that introverts in general are more like, again, more uncomfortable with unknown circumstances. If we find ourselves face to face with an unknown group of people, we feel more uncomfortable as average extrovert, for example, because we don't know what to expect. We don't know if these people are going to be interesting to us. We don't know, and we are not kind of in control. That's why we feel more comfortable on social media, because it gives this sense of control. If you don't like these people, you just stop interacting with them. If you feel overwhelmed, you don't interact with them. And in real life, we are not in control, so we kind of we feel overloaded, and we feel this lack of control, and it's actually a dreading experience. And that's why we feel so uncomfortable and so tired after all group interaction.
This explains a lot to me, because I always feel totally not in control of marketing. Because marketing, to me, it feels like changing the behavior of people, right? So, I want people to buy my stuff, and I can't control that.
That's true. That's true. And that is one of the reasons, like getting back to this reasoning that introverts can be great in sales, is that the reason why we get overwhelmed, not because we're antisocial, but all the way around, because we're extra social. We pick the cues much better than average extrovert. So we're actually much better in listening to people, listening to their pain points, listening to what they're saying, and we're better in channeling these requirements, these pains, into the right narrative, how to wrap our product in the right way and present it to people so that they instantly see that our product actually solves their problem. With general extrovert, it's totally different. They have, like, you know, the guidelines how to sell their product, and they just go ahead with it. They go and they chat and they sell, because they don't listen to any feedback. They don't listen to what people are actually saying to them. They can last longer because they just can endure more interactions, but it doesn't mean that they're better at sales than average introvert would be. We kind of have totally different approach. It's quality versus quantity, right? The extroverts would just cover many people, and they would introduce the same speech to everyone, and eventually they will stumble upon someone this feature actually resonates with. That's how they close the deal. With us, it's totally
Okay.
different. We try to be very, very personalized, very targeted, very customized. We try to find people who really need our product, and as soon as we find them, we kind of wrap our messaging, our product positioning into something that would be very relevant to these people, and we bring our product to this audience specifically. And that's actually the trends that modern marketing goes into. Modern marketing is much less about, this mass market messaging, this
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
very shouty and pitchy and just sending the same message to everyone. Modern marketing is much more about crafting personalized messages. That's why I think that modern marketing actually belongs to introverted entrepreneurs,
Oh,
and
that's good news. That's
that's
terrific
that's
news for
why
us.
we can be actually very successful, specifically in the more modern marketing world, and the way we understand marketing now. In terms of, again, answering to your question, why marketing, it feels like marketing doesn't come naturally to introverted technical
Yeah.
founders. Yeah, you already actually raised this. It's one of the reasons that marketing is more or less much more unpredictable than like building technical response from the system. When we know how to code, we always know that we put this line of code into the system, we will probably like get this response. And if we are not getting it, it means that we wrote the wrong code, that there is a
Yeah.
mistake somewhere in there. So
Yeah.
we always know the feedback that we want to get, the system feedback, and we just tweak the code until we get this feedback. With marketing, it's a little bit different. We know that that's the feedback that we want. We want sales, we want customers, right?
Right.
But there's so many points where something can go wrong, right? It's not just
Right.
two sides like interaction with you and the I don't know, text editor or some other kind of things that you use
Yeah.
to put
Right.
your code in. There are so many touch points where you can put the wrong code in. It can be, the wrong messaging, the wrong audience. It can be the wrong visuals. It can be the wrong ad targeting campaign. It can be the wrong location. It can be the wrong platform.
Yeah.
So many things can go wrong. So we kind of get lost again, trying to juggle all these cues and put it into the system. That's why technical founders struggle with marketing, because there are so many touch points where we can make a mistake. So if we try to split it into simple tasks and simple little experiments, like, okay, for these 2 weeks, and don't expect very fast results, that it stops being so overwhelming. Again, it's like the same story as an advice for introverted people. Try to to move your interaction from the covering the room into one-on-one conversation. If you stop thinking, like for example, if you go to a party, if you stop seeing this putting this into perspective, like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to so many people, it's so tiresome, I hate it.
Yeah.
If you start thinking, I will find one friend I want to talk to, and I will spend all evening talking to this friend, it stops being overwhelming all of a sudden. And if you
Yeah.
do just that, you go to a party, you find one person you actually like, or you wanted to be introduced to, or you actually know from another party, it suddenly turns from a horrific experience into enjoyable experience. And you spend all these 3-4 hours in a party talking to a person you really like, and eventually you
Is that
find,
possible in marketing as well?
yeah,
Can I do
it is
something
very
similar in
possible.
marketing?
It is very possible in marketing. You just stop thinking of, I have to cover all the grounds, I have to find the right audience, the right message, the right everything.
Channels and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you do one experiment at a time. For example, okay, today for this month, I want to build my cold emailing system, and I will first of all start with finding the right audience. So I have a hypothesis that my product will be most relevant to XYZ, these people. And so I will find these people online and I will send the same pitch to them all, right? I will send the same poll, same email with the same subject line to all these three groups. And I will see how it resonates with them. So eventually you find the one that it resonates the most. Then you start tweaking the subject line. Like for the next couple of weeks, you start playing around with the subject line. Like, okay, if I tell these people that my product can boost their productivity, will it resonate better than if I tell these people that this product can improve their revenue, or this product will save their time, or this product will leave them more time to spend with their family? What kind of button should I push with this specific audience? Because I have to figure out what resonates better with them. Then after I find the better subject line, I can start playing around with my copy. So take one step at a time. Split the big marketing work into very, very small chunks, and always experiment. Always run experiment, trying to build, this one-on-one interaction with your audience. Then it works much better. And you get
So
data.
it would also help if I
You get
think.
data, you get predictable results, because as a technical person, we're all data driven. As soon as we start getting data, seeing, absolutely different percentage on the open rate, we instantly figure out that, okay, here we're moving in the right direction. We get encouraged, we get motivated. And here we just put this on hold. We don't move in that direction. It gets so much easier when you start running real experiments, and it's much easier with the small budgets again.
Interesting. So you mentioned in your previous answer, you mentioned this kind of modern marketing today that's different from previous years. This sounds very much like achieving those one-on-one conversations you mentioned lately. Does it have anything to do with sending the same message to everyone versus talking to one person specifically? Is this the kind of modern marketing, or what did you mean when you said marketing is changing towards something more modern?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. That marketing, our approach to marketing is changing from this mass market approach, just covering lots of field at the same time with the same message, with the same product, to being more personalized, more actually talking to a customer on a more personal level. All the marketing communications, if you look even at the big companies like Coca-Cola or Procter and Gamble and everything, they still try their best to build products for different niches, for different audiences. So they personalize their marketing on the product level, and they also personalize their marketing on the communication level, trying to send all different messages to all different audiences. And they also build their marketing communication in a more informal, like human-like way, right? They try to put a face behind the brand. They try some person to be this voice behind the brand, to speak with the audience. They don't say, like, our sneakers are the best because they're the best, they're more comfortable, they have better layers or stuff like that. They have this brand attached to a certain person who says, I'm better like basketball player. I become better professional like because I'm using these sneakers. So they try to connect the message to the personal achievements, to the understanding how the audience, their customers would feel about themselves, not about the product. Like, because people don't want better sneakers, they want to feel better in them. They don't want them to look pretty. They want other people to see, oh, you have new sneakers, they look amazing. Or they want to look at these sneakers in the mirror, or just put their eyes down and think to themselves, oh, I look amazing today. So it's not about the sneakers, it's about feeling how you feel about it. And that's why all marketing communications are become more human related and more personalized. It's one of the reasons. And the second reason, I actually covered it a lot, talked about it a lot on my podcast episode with Arvid. Like I think it was aired in January.
Yeah.
It has so much to do with the modern structure, how society is structured and how modern economy is structured. First of all, because like 50 years ago, the economy belonged to the big corporations, right? So there
That's
were
right.
big
Yeah.
companies who could spend like thousands and millions and billions on marketing, on advertising. Today's economy is much more fragmented and it belongs to small players. It's a creator's economy. And creators, they don't have these budgets to address to the mass market. So the only way creators can structure their business is to address to targeted niche audience, to very,
Yeah.
very small groups of people. And that's why basically how marketing had to restructure itself to address to people who are the main players in today's economy. We can't teach, small players the same tricks that big dogs can use. We can't
Yeah,
tell these
exactly.
small
Yeah.
creators like do the same things that Mars used to do 50 years ago. Just spend another 5 billion on your marketing campaign and you'll be on top of the hill. That's not how
And
it's
go
done,
to
right?
TV or something. Yeah.
Exactly. So marketing has to reinvent itself to offer the success, strategies, the winning tactics to the small players, because that's for the main players in the today's economy. That's one thing. And the second thing is actually the society has restructured itself considerably compared to how it was like again 100 years ago and 50 years ago, like when we started seeing these big corporations and this mass marketing going up, when basically beginning of 20th century, middle of the 20th century, when big cities started to evolve and people started just moving from the suburbs in the big cities, cutting
Yeah.
their traditional links, traditional relationships with the family, how the rural society was structured. You lived in the village and you know pretty much everyone there. You knew, like, if you have this problem, you have to go to Mr. X, and you have that problem, you have to go Mr.
Right.
Y. Or if you have that problem, you have to go to Mrs. Z. So, when you move to a big city, you sever all the links you had with your family, with the traditional society. You kind of a part of this faceless machine. You're part of this just a big crowd of people who are more
Ah.
or less the same. They all work for the same plant. They all work for the same factory, and they have no connection, no horizontal connections between each other. They all have just this hierarchy was built uh, top to bottom, from the big boss on the plants to all
Yeah.
the small employees who are working on this for the same factory. That's why this faceless mass marketing worked, because these people were connectionless. They didn't have their background. They didn't have, this value structured around their family, their friends, the horizontal link. They only knew that they live in a big city. They belong to generation XYZ or boomers or something.
Yeah.
And they belong to a certain age group. They belong to a certain like income level, and that's what we needed as marketers to address to these people. It doesn't work that way anymore, because all people now belong to a certain community. We belong to a
Ah.
certain community online. We belong to a certain community in our neighborhoods. So we have our value system, our chosen preferences structured around these small communities. And for marketers, it's not enough anymore to have this very wide, demographic structure. So we will
Yeah.
address to people who live in a city of Los Angeles, who are from 18 to 25 years old, and who have this certain
Yeah,
income.
this old persona thing, right?
Yeah, a household, it doesn't work that way, because people who live in this city have this sort of income. They can have totally different life values, totally different
Right.
lifestyles. They would follow totally different influences on social media. And so you have to create absolutely different marketing messages to these people, to address to these people.
Yeah.
Because the society is not, has restructured these horizontal links we used to have like 300 years ago while living in the villages, that were completely severed when, like, during the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
The society, due to the new tech that has been introduced, social media, Zoom, Google Meets,
Yeah,
stuff like that,
exactly.
when
Yeah.
people manage to recreate all these links that we used to have, this horizontal link, and rebuild itself into small communities again, like into small villages. And
Ah,
though we
that's
all live
interesting.
in the big cities, some of us might work for a big factory, we still belong to small, online villages. We belong
Right.
to online communities. And that's why marketing is the second reason why marketing had to restructure itself to create very personalized messages, because these white demographic filters, they don't work anymore.
That's so interesting because it creates a big chance for us solopreneurs, I think, because we can focus on kind of community we like or kind of community we really understand and can give value to. We are not doing marketing like pounding the drum, tooting the horn, as I always say. It's felt that's what marketing felt to me when I, as a
That's
technical founder,
exactly.
started with it. And I thought, this is not for me. What the heck? And
That's exactly
it's
why
a new chance, I
you
think.
see this rise of this creators economy, right? So because the conditions are right, the tech is there, and people are ready to deal with these small creators,
Yeah.
to like we used to deal with that 500 years ago, right? We would go to order our shoes. We wouldn't go to a big supermarket to buy our
No,
footwear. We would
no,
go
it
to
wasn't.
someone we know, to someone we trust, and to someone who's got very good recommendations from our neighbors. We would not go to buy our food from, like McDonald's or Subway or
Yeah,
somewhere. We would
right.
go to someone, again, who's got reputation, and not just any reputation, but reputation from people that we believe they know what they're saying, right? Reputation from our inner circle, and reputation in our
Right.
community. I don't, as for example, as a creator, I don't care what, a marketer from KFC would say. It's totally irrelevant to
Right.
me. As for example, a marketer for a small startup, I don't care what, like, a marketing director in Procter and Gamble is thinking about marketing. What's relevant to me, what other startup marketers are saying, what kind of tools they would recommend me to use. So that's, again, all the very small community business all alone again. And that's why small players, small startup founders have so many, much more chances for success as they used to have like 30 years ago.
That's good news. That's totally good news. Yeah, some
It
stone is
is, it
falling off
is,
my
it is
heart.
good news. It is on one hand. So because the entrance barriers are so low, and the customers are ready to deal with small players, instead of, faceless big corporations. It's the good news. But the bad news is that, like, it's still it's still the world of business. So the rules are still there. The more players entering the market, the higher the cost of customer acquisition would go. So
Right.
if you have low barriers, if you have a ready demand, so obviously you're not the only one who's got this genius idea to start your own business. There
Exactly.
probably will be other entrepreneurs entering the market, flowing in, and you have to compete with all of them. And that's why you have to become really personal with your interaction with the customers. You have to become very creative. You have to become, you either have to spend more just by your way in the market. That's not the best news. Or
Yeah.
you have to be more personalized in your communication. And that's a good news.
I remember when Corey Haines, a well-known marketer, when he said marketing is earning trust at scale. So earning trust of a lot of people. Um, can you put this into perspective with the more personalized communication? How can I do this at scale? Because the conversion rate is so low. Let's take 5% is already good for a SaaS. So to get 100 people, I need 20 times 100. So I need 2,000 people who are at least interested in my SaaS, so that 100 people convert. What do you think, earning trust at scale? Does that work? How can that work for a solopreneur?
I think what Corey actually meant is, again, being very specific with your targeted audience and not trying your best to be loved by anyone,
Yeah.
by everyone, but be loved by very specific group of people. So it's not only about just marketing, it's about product as well, right? So just beginning with building the product, you should address the needs of very specific audience. You should be in touch with these people constantly, talking to them and understanding their jobs to be done, understanding their requirements to build a product that would reflect these specific people needs. For example, let me give you an example. Like when I joined from my personal experience, when I joined the team, the B2B SaaS team in December, I started to look for the cold email outreach tool. I needed some tech to be used to get better data, to structure my cold emailing campaigns. And I had this close Twitter friend, like how close can you be with someone online, right? It's not
Yeah.
like like
Right.
your best friend, but it's someone who you know on Twitter, you interact with, you had a couple of conversations like via Zoom, and you kind of support their product launch, they support your product launch. So it's kind
Yeah.
of
Right.
more personal interaction than with the rest of Twitter audience. And I know that the team were building a cold email outreach product, and obviously they were my first choice. And I didn't look for the market leaders. Like I knew all the market leaders, like Lamlist, for example, right? I know that that's a very decent product. It would be always on my consideration set just because of the market leader. Like, for
Yeah.
example, if you go for, I don't know, buying diapers, Procter and Gamble would be always on
Yeah.
your consideration
Exactly.
set because they you know that you always find them in any supermarket.
Yeah.
But if you know someone personally, from Twitter, from the interaction there, this very little startup, they were not even customer ready. This very little product would sneak their way into your consideration set anyway, because they gained your trust as a founder. I knew nothing
Ah.
about their product. I haven't used them. But I knew the founder. I had the respect to them because their ideas, how they build it, the marketing, their communication, their strategy, how they interacted with the beta users. It resonated very well with what I believe is the right thing to structure your product, your marketing, your communication. So that's why they gained trust with me, and that's how they got a customer. I'm pretty sure because they were building all their communication in public on Twitter, they shared their ideas on Twitter. They were very open with everything they did on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like the
Right.
first product, actually, we hooked up when they built the product that failed. They were building some, I don't know, customer support chat or knowledge-based chat or something like that, and they reached out to me to support their product hunt launch. I started interacting with them, And eventually, the product hunt launch didn't go very well. And then eventually the whole product failed because they didn't manage to get any traction on that. But because we're already hooked up, we interacted a lot further and further. And I saw how they were building this product in public. I saw how they were getting customers' feedback with every single stage of this new product, which is called email and outreach product. And so because of that, I was the part of their trusted network.
Yeah.
All that, 500, 700 people that were not just following their journey, but they interacted with in a more personal way. So I'm pretty sure that if other people in that 700 people network at some day would get this need to get cold emailing outreach tool, Arno's that's his the founder name, Arno.
Yeah.
Arno's product would sneak their way into this people consideration set just because they trust the founder. So building in public for this specific audience, having this trust with your audience and having these conversations with your audience is one way of building trust at scale. It means, again, addressing maybe these 700 people or 5,000 people who follow you at this stage, they don't need the cold emailing outreach tool, or they don't need this tool in general. But as soon as they get this demand, as soon as they be in a market for pitching, you will be in their consideration set along with the very big players who invested millions in their marketing strategy.
That's a super interesting point. But this also means that I might have to wait, right? I might have to wait until I'm trusted by enough people, just by being me,
Exactly. So it's just one part of the marketing strategy, right? It's in general, when you're a small stage founder, it's about planting as many seeds as you can, right? It's about here being on Twitter, putting out content, establishing trust with people. It's more maybe addressing the future demand, nurturing these people who would look for a tool, something that you're building in future, maybe not today, maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in a month, maybe in a year. So it's about establishing trust with these people, or maybe these people would recommend you to someone else. Maybe they will never be in the market for the tool, but as soon as they get, that's what I get now all the time, because I'm building so many. No marketing has been done in this company for 5 years. It was more sales driven for 5 years, and they got to an amazing point, like almost 2 million annual revenue without any marketing.
Wow. Okay.
So now I'm here trying to build a marketing machine to improve on these results. So sales team is still there, but I'm trying to leverage all other opportunities that are already there. And I'm trying to build lots of things. So obviously there are a lot of automations. I'm using lots of tech that hasn't been used here. And again, because I wasn't building something actively with my own hands, right? For some time, for maybe 4 or 5 years while I was mentoring, I was offering the advice how things should be done, but I wasn't looking deeper what kind of tools should be used to do these things, what kind of tools are better. And it's one of the reasons. Another reason that I used to work mostly with the US-based founders, and most, like 99% of tech tools, they are aimed at the US-based audience. Like audience intelligence, lead generation, cold emailing, you pick it, it's all for the US market. When you start catering to the European-based customers like I am now, it's totally different story. Because, for example, German customers, they're not even on social media. You can't find anything about your prospects who are located in Germany because they are not even on social media. And so on and so forth. So I'm trying to build lots of things that I have no like personal experience with, or like my knowledge is a little bit outdated because I didn't do anything like manually for 4 years. And because I haven't catered to the European audience before, and yeah, that's why I constantly stumble on these blogs. Okay, I use this tool for the US and it worked amazingly well. It just doesn't work for Europe
Yeah.
because it just does not, it's not supposed to be used here. So yes, where I was, yeah, and I put this, request on Twitter every day. Like, I have this problem. If you encountered this problem, if you had this challenge before, what tools did you use? And people start sending me recommendations, and 99% of these recommendations are not about tools that they personally use. It's about some founders that they know, that they follow on Twitter, that they
Oh,
follow on
interesting.
LinkedIn, and they say, yeah, honestly, I haven't used this tool before, but this guy, he's building what you're looking for, and they've got amazing, like, reputation. They've got amazing reputation.
Uh-huh.
That's what people
Uh-huh.
keep on telling me. They always recommend me someone with a reputation. And that's exactly how you plant these seeds and how you start getting the crops. Like, maybe people who you're talking to right now, they might not even be in the market in the nearest future, or might
Mm-hmm.
never be in the market. But if they trust you, if you manage to build your reputation with them, they would recommend you to someone who is in the market. So yeah, that's how it works.
Interesting. Maybe we're running out of time, but one question is important to me. You mentioned this build development and marketing loop. I also experience this rhythm. I have to build something in order to have something to sell, but I'm always having to do marketing as well in order that people listen to it, so see it. How do you see this loop? What do you think? You mentioned on your homepage of the marketing toolkit that you have that founders have to change this loop. What do you think is the big change that should be made?
I actually have a free email course, like that.
Uh-huh.
That's email sequence on exactly this subject: how to find
Ah,
customers before you build. So, if your listeners are interested in this kind of things, they can join the course. It's completely free. Just the links are in my Twitter account, or LinkedIn, or on my website, wherever that you can
yeah, I'll also
find
put
this
them in the
course
course notes. All right.
everywhere. So what my perspective on this is, I actually got it while I never gave it a second thought, to be honest. I always assumed, product is product, marketing is marketing. They have different jobs, and okay, they should interact with a part of the team, but they shouldn't be a part of the same loop, of the same cycle.
Yeah.
The story is that when I started mentoring founders, when I first joined the Founder Institute program, I guess 3 years ago, and I started mentoring founders, and I realized very soon I started getting my own, like, failure rate stats, like what founders fail, what founders actually get somewhere. Because you follow up with the people anyway, you mentor them,
Yeah,
you
right.
share with them advice, they leave the program, and then you kind of get connected on LinkedIn or Twitter, and you then just randomly do checks. How they doing? Is startup still around there, or is it just should was sent to the startup cemetery in the graveyard? Uh, yeah, and what I realized very soon, that founders who had technical backgrounds, they have very high failure rate. Yeah, that's the sad truth. Founders
Ah.
who are completely technical, they have very high failure rate. But what was surprising, that founders that have marketing background also have very high failure rate. So they
Oh.
knew how to address the audience. They knew all the basics, how to run Google Ads, how to build their social media presence, stuff like that. But they also had very high failure rate. Who actually had the lowest failure rate were founders with product background. Founders who were, product managers, those who
Ah.
used to build products based on the constant customer feedback loop. Like those who used to start with conversation with the customers,
Right,
those
right.
who used to build product on top after listening to what people are saying, after having customer interviews, after getting used to launching beta versions, getting used to launching beta and actually get customers on the beta versions and getting the feedback, and after that iterating. So these founders, they were the most successful ones because they started with the customer requirements. They started from with going to people, asking the right questions, because they had this experience, this product background. It's about asking the right questions and putting the answers into the right perspective, getting the right data out of these questions. So they just build their product based on the actual customer demand. They did not start building until they got the right understanding what the demand is and what kind of people they're going to interact with, where they're coming from, what their background is like. And as soon as they got there, they got pretty much ready to implement go-to-market strategy, right? So they knew the product, they knew the customers, they knew where to find these customers, they knew what kind of like thoughts these customers had in their heads, what kind of perspective these customers had. And it was very easy for them to hire someone to do the marketing outreach because they could provide very precise guidelines in terms of
Yeah.
demographics,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
terms of psychographics, in terms of everything. That's the people I want to target. That's their problem. That's where you find them. That's the words that they're using while talking about this problem.
Exactly. The
So
language.
it
Yeah.
was it was very, very simple, very easy for them. And also because they had already people lined up who they interacted with during the product development stage, the beta stage. So these people became the ambassadors, the product ambassadors. These
Yeah.
people already invested themselves into building the product. These people were already, big fans. They just all these people either became the first customers, paying customers, or they again started referring this product to everyone
Uh huh.
else.
Uh
So
huh.
that's what kickstarted the whole success journey. Yeah, and that's what my personal observation is. So if you go from the like lean product development, if you go from actually talking to customers, interacting with them, that's the same framework that is basically outlined in Arvid Kahl's books like Embedded
Yeah.
Entrepreneur, right? It's the
Yeah.
same principle. You go to people first, you investigate first, you talk to them first, and after that, you start building, but not just building, but you also build constantly interacting with these people. You engage these people, you make these people part of your building process. And with that, like that's the build in public framework again, jumping in, right? You engage these people, you make these people a part of your building process. And like that, with that, you build trust, you build reputation, and you build the community of raving fans who would go out there and always recommend your product to everyone they know is a relevant, target audience. That's how it works.
That's cool. It resonates with me very well because I recently put, or from the beginning, I put up a waiting list for my upcoming product to acquire to market, this marketing system for introverts. And suddenly I got 120 people on it, and I thought, oh wow, that's totally different from the previous things I did, which didn't work. And then when I put the product out, on the dashboard of the product, I put a Savical calendar to allow people to sign up for meetings with me, to have sort of onboarding, because I didn't have any onboarding wizard code yet in the product itself. And people really signed up, and I thought, oh, my calendar is filling up with meetings with people. So, and this was really amazing. I met all kinds of different characters. It was amazing to talk to different people to see how they see marketing. And when they say, I'm forced to do marketing, I say, hey, enjoy marketing. I can't enjoy that. So it's really amazing when you put up some opportunity. And I'm so glad I left the SavvyCal still in the product, because it's so easy for people to sign up for the next meeting.
Yeah, it's a very, very smart way of, again, a way of building this trust and communication, personal communication with people. Because if you move your interaction with customers, especially on the early stage, on this personal level, it's kind of investment in this reputation and the trust you build at scale.
Yeah. Do you still have some time to talk about Nigel? I'm a big fan of introvert Nigel, or are you running tight?
Sorry, Matthias. It's already 1 hour. I've been talking for 1 hour. I have one more meetings coming, and I have to do my work.
Totally understand that. It was so much fun talking to you today, and so I learned so much. It's so amazing, and not only intellectually but also emotionally. I learned so much today about what marketing can mean for an introvert, and for anyone today. These village and community thinking and all this. So thanks a lot,
I'm
Anna,
so happy.
for being here today.
I was helpful, and hopefully your listeners will also learn something new. And I really hope people would enjoy doing marketing, because it's actually fun, and it allows us to be better people as well. We grow
exactly.
because we don't only tell our audience what they should do, but our audience tells us what we should do and how we should think about the world. It makes us better people. It helps us grow as personalities if we are better in marketing.
Thanks for listening to the Reluctant Marketer podcast. You can find me on Twitter at BohlenLabs. That spells BOHLENLABS. Or you can send me an email to matthias@bohlenlabs.com. If you want to support this podcast, please share it with a friend on your social media networks and leave a rating in your favorite podcast player app. This will help other reluctant marketers find this podcast as well. Thank you very much for listening today, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.